Every comment, every delay, every person who ignores you, criticizes you, overlooks you. It all gets under your skin. But here's the truth. When you let your emotions drive your reaction, you give away your power. Napoleon Hill, the man who studied 500 of the most successful people in history, discovered something profound. Self-control is solely a matter of thought control. Unshakable people don't feel less, they just don't let their feelings make the decisions. Imagine living like that, calm, focused, unbothered. No more overthinking, no more emotional spirals, no more feeling like a prisoner of your own mind. Think about it. How many times have you said something in anger that you later regretted? How many opportunities have you lost because you couldn't control your immediate reaction? How many relationships have suffered because you let your emotions hijack your better judgment? The average person lives at the mercy of their emotions. They're happy when things go well, devastated when they don't. They're confident when praised, crushed when criticized. They're essentially emotional ping-pong balls, bouncing from one feeling to another, never truly in control of their own experience. But Hill discovered that the most successful people had mastered one skill above all others, the ability to control their emotional responses. They had learned what he called the master key to riches, not money, but mastery over themselves. What if you could develop that same unshakable inner strength? What if you could train your mind to remain calm, focused, and powerful regardless of what's happening around you? In this video, I'll show you how to train your mind to act like nothing breaks you, so you stop reacting and start responding with power. This isn't about becoming emotionless. It's about becoming emotionally sovereign. It's about taking back control of your inner world so that you can navigate the outer world with confidence and grace.
Emotional outbursts feel justified. You were hurt, offended, ignored, provoked. But every time you explode, you hand over the reins. Napoleon Hill wrote, "If you do not conquer self, you will be conquered by self." That's the trap. We think we're expressing ourselves when we're actually exposing our weakness. Anyone can scream, anyone can post angry rants, but it takes real strength to remain still when the world tries to shake you. Let me tell you something that might surprise you. Every time you lose control of your emotions, you're actually training your brain to be weaker. Yes, you heard that right. Each emotional outburst is like doing a reverse workout for your mental strength. Think about it this way. When you go to the gym and lift weights, you're deliberately putting your muscles under stress to make them stronger. But when you have an emotional outburst, you're doing the opposite. You're teaching your brain that when things get tough, the solution is to lose control. Hill understood this principle deeply. He spent his entire life studying successful people, and he noticed something fascinating. The most successful individuals weren't necessarily the smartest or the most talented. They were the ones who had mastered themselves. Consider this scenario. You're in a meeting at work, and someone criticizes your idea in front of everyone. Your immediate instinct might be to defend yourself aggressively, to prove them wrong, to show everyone that you're not to be messed with. But what actually happens when you do that? First, you lose credibility. People don't see strength, they see someone who can't handle criticism. Second, you miss the opportunity to actually learn something valuable from the feedback. Third, you create an adversarial relationship where collaboration could have existed. Now imagine a different response. You listen calmly, you acknowledge the criticism, You ask clarifying questions, and you respond thoughtfully. What happens then? You demonstrate real strength. You show that you're secure enough to handle feedback. You create an environment where honest communication can flourish. This is what Hill meant when he talked about self-mastery. It's not about suppressing your emotions, it's about choosing how you express them. It's about being the captain of your own ship instead of being tossed around by every wave. The truth is, most people are walking around as emotional slaves. They're happy when others are nice to them, angry when others are rude, confident when things go well, and devastated when they don't. They've essentially given everyone else the remote control to their emotional state. But here's what the truly powerful people understand. Your emotional state is your responsibility. No one else can make you feel anything without your permission. Eleanor Roosevelt said it best, "No one can make you feel inferior without your consent." Napoleon Hill took this concept even further. He understood that self-control isn't just about managing your emotions, it's about harnessing them. It's about taking all that emotional energy and channeling it into purposeful action. Think about the most successful people you know. Are they the ones who explode at every inconvenience? Are they the ones who post angry rants on social media? Are they the ones who can't handle criticism or setbacks? Of course not. They're the ones who remain calm under pressure, who think before they speak, who respond rather than react. This isn't because they don't feel emotions, it's because they've learned to be the master of their emotions instead of the slave. They've learned what Hill called the secret of self-discipline. Self-control isn't about being emotionless. It's about being emotionally sovereign. It means you feel everything, but choose your response. You're not cold, you're not fake, you're just unbreakable. Hill didn't preach numbness, he preached intelligent restraint. He wrote, "The man who controls his emotions can control any situation. You want power? Learn to sit with the feeling without letting it drive the car." Let me clear up a massive misconception right now. Self-control is not about becoming a robot. It's not about suppressing your emotions or pretending you don't feel anything. That's not strength. That's emotional constipation, and it's just as unhealthy as emotional incontinence. True self-control is about emotional intelligence. It's about feeling your emotions fully, understanding what they're telling you, and then choosing the most effective response. It's about being able to say, "I feel angry right now, and that's okay, but I'm going to respond in a way that serves my highest good." Napoleon Hill understood this distinction perfectly. He wasn't advocating for emotional suppression. He was advocating for emotional mastery. There's a huge difference. Let me give you a real-world example. Imagine you're an entrepreneur and you've just lost a major client. The emotional response might be panic, anger, or despair. The emotionally suppressed person might try to push these feelings down, pretend they don't exist and soldier on. But this approach is doomed to fail because those emotions will eventually explode in some other way. The emotionally intelligent person, on the other hand, acknowledges these feelings. They might say, "I feel disappointed and scared right now. That's natural, given what just happened. Now, what's the most effective way to respond to this situation?" They feel the emotion, learn from it, and then choose their response. This is what Hill meant by intelligent restraint. It's not about restraining your emotions. It's about restraining your immediate reactions to those emotions. It's about creating space between what you feel and what you do. Think of it this way. Emotions are like the weather. You can't control whether it's sunny or stormy, but you can control how you dress for the weather. You can't control whether you feel angry or sad, but you can control how you respond to those feelings. The most successful people in history weren't the ones who never felt negative emotions. They were the ones who learned to respond to those emotions in ways that served their goals. Abraham Lincoln felt deep anger about slavery, but he channeled that anger into purposeful action. Martin Luther King Jr. felt righteous indignation about injustice, but he expressed it through peaceful protest and powerful oratory. This is the kind of emotional sovereignty that Hill was talking about. It's about being the owner of your emotional experience rather than being owned by it. But here's where most people get it wrong. They think self-control means being in control all the time. That's not realistic or healthy. True self-control means being able to choose when to be in control and when to let go. It means being able to laugh freely, cry when you need to, and express joy without reservation, but also being able to remain calm under pressure, think clearly in crisis, and respond thoughtfully to provocation. The key is awareness. You need to develop what psychologists call emotional awareness, the ability to recognize your emotions as they arise, understand what triggered them, and choose your response consciously rather than automatically. Hill spent decades studying this principle. He interviewed over 500 successful people, and he found that this ability to maintain emotional equilibrium was one of the most consistent traits among high achievers. They weren't necessarily the most talented or the most intelligent, but they were the most emotionally disciplined. This emotional discipline isn't something you're born with. It's something you develop through practice. Just like you can train your body to be stronger, you can train your mind to be more resilient. Just like you can develop physical stamina, you can develop emotional stamina. The beautiful thing about this principle is that it creates a positive feedback loop. The more you practice emotional self-control, the more confident you become. The more confident you become, the less you need to prove yourself through emotional outbursts. The less you need to prove yourself, the more naturally calm and centered you become. This is what true power looks like. It's not about dominating others or forcing your will on the world. It's about mastering yourself so completely that external circumstances lose their power to shake you.
It starts with intention. Every day, give your mind one job. Act like the strongest version of me is already in control. Even if you don't feel strong, especially when you don't. Here's how to train that response. Step 1. Master the pause. Breathe before reacting. Buy yourself 3 seconds of clarity. The pause is your superpower. Between stimulus and response, there's a space. In that space lies your freedom to choose. But most people never learn to access this space because they react so quickly that they skip right over it. Here's how to develop this skill. When you feel a strong emotion rising, immediately take 3 deep breaths. Not shallow breaths, deep, intentional breaths that fill your entire lungs. This isn't just some feel-good advice. It's based on neuroscience. When you take deep breaths, you activate your parasympathetic nervous system, which calms your body and mind. You literally shift your brain from reactive mode to responsive mode. You give your prefrontal cortex, the part of your brain responsible for rational thinking, a chance to come online. Practice this everywhere. When someone cuts you off in traffic, breathe. When you receive a harsh email, breathe. When someone criticizes you, breathe. Make it automatic. Make it your default response to any emotional trigger. Napoleon Hill understood this principle intuitively. He wrote about the importance of thinking before acting and never making important decisions when emotionally disturbed. The pause is how you make this practical. Step 2. Mental rehearsal. Visualize power. picture yourself handling it better. This is where most people fail. They wait until they're in the middle of an emotional storm to try to practice self-control. That's like trying to learn to swim while you're drowning. Instead, you need to rehearse your responses when you're calm. Every morning, spend 10 minutes visualizing yourself in challenging situations. See yourself receiving criticism gracefully. Imagine yourself staying calm when someone is rude to you. Visualize yourself responding with wisdom when someone tries to provoke you. Make these visualizations as vivid as possible. See the situation clearly. Feel the emotions that would normally arise. Then, see yourself responding with perfect composure. Feel the strength that comes from being in control of yourself. This isn't just positive thinking, it's mental training. You're literally rewiring your brain to respond differently to challenging situations. When the real situation arises, you'll have already practiced your response hundreds of times in your mind. Napoleon Hill was a master of this technique. He called it the development of a pleasing personality, and understood that it required consistent mental practice. He knew that you can't fake composure. You have to train it. Step 4. The power mantra. Repeat silently. Nothing can shake me. I respond. I don't react. Words have power, especially the words you say to yourself. Your internal dialogue is constantly programming your subconscious mind. If you're constantly saying things like, "I can't handle this," or "this is too much," you're training your brain to be overwhelmed. Instead, develop a power mantra, a phrase that reminds you of your strength and centers you in challenging moments. The one I suggested is just a starting point. You might prefer something like, "I am calm and in control," or "I choose my response," or "I am stronger than this feeling." The key is to repeat this mantra consistently, especially when you're feeling emotionally triggered. Say it silently to yourself. Let it become your default thought pattern. Over time, it will become automatic. Hill understood the power of self-talk. He wrote extensively about autosuggestion and how the thoughts you repeatedly think become your reality. Your mantra is a tool for programming your mind with thoughts of strength and control. Step 4. Trigger mapping. Write down your emotional triggers. Notice the patterns. You can't manage what you don't understand. Most people are unconscious of their emotional triggers. They get upset and think it's random, but it's not. There are patterns, and once you identify them, you can prepare for them. You can recognize the warning signs and implement your pause and breathe technique before the emotion takes over. This is what Hill meant by knowing yourself. He believed that self-knowledge was the foundation of all success. You can't control what you don't understand, and you can't change what you don't acknowledge. Step 5. Daily strength training. Rehearse your calm every day in silence. Just like physical fitness, emotional fitness requires daily practice. You can't go to the gym once a month and expect to be strong. You can't practice emotional self-control once in a while and expect to be unshakable. Create a daily practice. Every morning, spend 15 minutes in silence, mentally rehearsing your ideal responses to challenging situations. Visualize yourself staying calm under pressure. See yourself responding with wisdom and grace. But don't just rehearse the easy situations. Challenge yourself. Imagine the worst-case scenarios. See yourself handling them with perfect composure. The more you practice in your mind, the more natural it becomes in real life. Hill was fanatical about daily practice. He understood that excellence isn't an accident, it's a habit. He wrote, "We are what we repeatedly do." Excellence, then, is not an act, but a habit. Step 6. The compound effect. Over time, your brain stops searching for drama. It starts trusting your stillness, and that stillness becomes your shield. Here's the beautiful thing about this training. It compounds. Every time you successfully pause instead of reacting, you're building emotional strength. Every time you respond thoughtfully instead of impulsively, you're rewiring your brain. At first, it will feel forced. You'll have to consciously remember to breathe, to pause, to choose your response. But over time, it becomes automatic. Your brain starts to trust that you can handle whatever comes your way without losing control. This is when you become truly unshakable. Not because you don't feel emotions, but because you've trained yourself to respond to them with wisdom and strength. You become like a mountain, unmoved by the storms that rage around you. Hill wrote about this transformation. The person who masters himself through self-control can master any situation. This isn't just a nice saying, it's a practical reality that you can achieve through consistent practice.
Imagine a life where nothing can pull you out of character, where insults lose their bite, delays don't derail you, people's moods don't dictate yours. That life doesn't come from hoping you change. It comes from deciding to act like nothing breaks you until your brain finally believes you're already unbreakable. Let me paint you a picture of what this transformation looks like in real life. You wake up in the morning with a deep sense of inner calm. You know that whatever challenges the day brings, you have the tools to handle them. You're not anxious about what might happen because you trust yourself to respond appropriately to whatever does happen. Someone sends you a nasty email. Instead of spending the next hour crafting an angry response, you take a deep breath, consider what outcome you actually want, and respond in a way that serves your goals. You don't take it personally because you know that other people's behavior says more about them than about you. You're stuck in traffic. Instead of getting frustrated and letting it ruin your day, you use the time to practice gratitude or listen to something educational. You remember that you can't control the traffic, but you can control your response to it. A family member criticizes you. Instead of getting defensive or attacking back, you listen for any truth in what they're saying. You respond with love and understanding, even if you don't agree with their approach. You don't let their emotional state determine yours. This is what emotional sovereignty looks like. It's not about being perfect. It's about being intentional. It's about choosing your responses instead of being controlled by your reactions. Napoleon Hill spent his entire life studying people who had achieved this level of self-mastery. He found that it was the common denominator among all successful people, regardless of their field or background. They had learned to govern themselves, and therefore they were capable of governing their circumstances. But here's the thing, this isn't a destination you arrive at once and then you're done. It's a practice you commit to for life. Every day, you get to choose whether you'll be reactive or responsive. Every challenging situation is an opportunity to strengthen your emotional muscles. The people who achieve this level of self-mastery aren't special or gifted. They're just people who decided that they were tired of being controlled by their emotions and committed to doing something about it. They're people who understood that true power comes from within, not from trying to control external circumstances. You have that same power within you. You have the ability to train your mind to remain calm under pressure, to respond thoughtfully to provocation, and to maintain your center regardless of what's happening around you. The question isn't whether you can do this. The question is whether you will. Are you ready to stop being a victim of your emotions and start being the master of them? Are you ready to develop the kind of unshakable inner strength that Napoleon Hill wrote about?
The choice is yours. But remember, every day you wait is another day you remain at the mercy of your emotions. Every day you procrastinate is another day you give away your power to external circumstances. Today can be the day you decide to take back control. Today can be the day you start building the emotional strength that will serve you for the rest of your life.
If this message resonated with you and you're ready to transform your relationship with your emotions forever, I want to invite you to join a community of people who are committed to mastering themselves. Hit that subscribe button right now, because this channel is dedicated to providing you with the mental tools and strategies you need to build unshakable inner strength. This isn't just motivation. This is practical, science-based training for your mind. But here's what I want you to do right now before you watch another video or scroll to something else. I want you to commit to practicing just one of these techniques for the next 7 days. Choose the one that resonated most with you. Maybe it's the 3-second pause, maybe it's the daily visualization, maybe it's developing your power mantra. Whatever you choose, commit to it for 1 week. Write it down, put it in your calendar, make it non-negotiable. Because here's the truth: information without application is just entertainment. You can watch every video about self-control, read every book about emotional intelligence, and attend every seminar about personal development. But until you actually practice these principles, nothing will change. And here's something I want you to understand. You don't need to be perfect. You don't need to transform overnight. You just need to be 1% better than you were yesterday. Every time you pause instead of reacting, you're winning. Every time you choose your response instead of being controlled by your emotions, you're building the kind of inner strength that will serve you for the rest of your life. If you're ready to go deeper, make sure you're subscribed with notifications on, because I'm constantly sharing new strategies and insights that will help you master your mind and create the life you want. Remember, the person you become is determined by the choices you make when no one is watching. The character you develop is forged in the moments when you choose to be strong instead of reactive. The life you create is built on the foundation of the daily decisions you make about how to respond to the world around you. You have everything you need to become unshakable. The question is, will you use it? I'll see you in the next video, where we'll dive even deeper into the psychology of peak performance and mental strength. Until then, remember, you're not at the mercy of your emotions. You're the master of them. Now, go out there and show the world what you're made of.